Most Americans have spent years building a collection that looks impressive but fails the moment it actually matters. These are the 12 pistols every American needs for World War III. Kioy. Pistol number 1 is actually recommended by the U.S. Army. Number 12. The Glock 19. Many already know this one. But that's exactly the point. When 9mm is the most produced pistol cartridge on the planet, stocked by every military, every law enforcement agency, and every corner gun store in America, running anything else in a sustained conflict is a logistical gamble you cannot afford. The Gen 5 stripped the finger grooves. It added the marksman barrel with improved polygonal rifling. It also introduced the ambidextrous slide stop that left-handed shooters had been asking about for 30 years. But here's what most people don't talk about. The Glock 19 has over 30 militaries currently using it as a standard sidearm. Parts availability in a conflict scenario is not luck. It is arithmetic. The next pistol on this list is what the U.S. Army chose when they decided the Glock wasn't enough. Number 11. The Sig Sauer P320. Most civilians look at this pistol and see a polymer striker-fired gun in a crowded market. But the U.S. Army looked at it and handed Sig a $580 million contract. That procurement decision was not made in a boardroom. It was made after 18 months of the most brutal military pistol trials conducted since the 1980s. The P320 beat out Glock, Beretta, and FN simultaneously. But what most people miss is the modular chassis system. The serialized fire control unit is the legal firearm. Every other component, the grip module, the slide, and the barrel, is just hardware. One chassis, multiple configurations. Full size for home defense, compact for carry, subcompact for deep concealment. In a prolonged conflict, that modularity is not a feature. It is a force multiplier. But the pistol that held the Army contract before the P320 spent 4 decades proving something the P320 has not had time to yet. Number 10. The Beretta M9A3. Everyone knows the Army replaced it. But here's what that narrative skips. The M9 served as the official United States military sidearm from 1985 to 2017. 32 years, 2 Gulf Wars, Afghanistan, and every special operations theater in between. The M9A3 is the evolved version Beretta released after the military contract ended, with a threaded barrel, improved grip texture, higher capacity magazines, and a Vertex-style thin grip that fixed the one complaint operators had for decades. But the detail nobody talks about is the parts ecosystem. Over 600,000 M9s were manufactured for United States military use alone. Spare parts, magazines, and holsters for this platform are embedded in the American surplus market at a depth no modern pistol can match yet. Reliability through ubiquity. That principle is older than any of these pistols. But the next entry understood that principle 40 years before Beretta did. Number 9. The CZ75B. American collectors consistently underestimate this pistol. That is a mistake with a price tag attached. The CZ75 was designed in 1975 by František Koch behind the Iron Curtain, and it was so advanced that Czechoslovakia could not patent it in the West because doing so would have required revealing the design publicly. So competitors copied it openly and legally. Over 100 manufacturers worldwide have produced CZ75 variants. But what makes the B model specifically valuable is the firing pin block safety added in the 1990s, making it one of the most drop-safe all-steel pistols ever produced at its price point. Street price today sits around $620 for a pistol that armies across Eastern Europe, South America, and the Middle East have run for 50 years. That kind of track record does not happen by accident. But if you want a track record that predates the CZ75 by half a century, the next pistol on this list has one. Number 8. The Colt 1911. Before you say it's outdated, that argument was being made in 1945. The pistol is still here. John Browning designed the 1911 in response to a specific combat failure. During the Philippine-American War, U.S. soldiers fired 38 long Colt rounds into charging Moro warriors and watched them keep coming. The Army needed stopping power. Browning gave them 45 ACP. The 1911 was adopted in 1911, served through both World Wars, Korea and Vietnam, and remained in special operations use with the Marine Corps Force reconnaissance units well into the 2000s. But here's the number most people haven't seen. The U.S. government purchased approximately 2.7 million 1911 pistols between 1911 and 1945 alone. The surplus parts market for this platform is essentially bottomless. The 45 ACP stopping power debate is settled in practice, if not in ballistics forums. The FBI's own wound ballistics research from 1989, the document that triggered the modern 9mm renaissance, still acknowledged 45 ACP's terminal performance as the baseline everything else was measured against, 8 rounds. But each one lands differently than 9mm. The next pistol on this list is what American law enforcement chose when they needed something between the 1911's authority and the Glock's capacity. Number 7. The Smith & Wesson M&P 2.0. Most people assume police departments run Glocks, but the largest law enforcement procurement contracts of the last decade tell a different story. The M&P 2.0 took the original M&P platform, already adopted by over 40 law enforcement agencies, and addressed every documented failure point. Aggressive grip texture that actually works with wet hands, a crisper trigger, breaking at approximately 4.5 to 5 pounds, and a rigid, embedded stainless steel chassis that eliminated the frame flex issues documented in the original model under sustained fire. But the detail that matters most in a conflict scenario is the aftermarket depth. Apex Tactical alone has built an entire business around M&P trigger upgrades, which tells you how seriously the professional community took this platform. Springfield, Massachusetts has been manufacturing firearms since 1777. Smith & Wesson has been in the same state since 1852. That institutional continuity means domestic parts availability survives scenarios that foreign manufactured platforms cannot. But the next entry makes this list for a reason that has nothing to do with capacity or trigger weight. Number 6. The Ruger GP100, a revolver on a World War III list. Every serious prepper already knows why. Semi-automatic pistols depend on a supply chain. Springs fatigue, extractors break. Magazines, the single most failure-prone component in any semi-automatic, become unobtainable. A double-action revolver has no magazine to lose, no extractor to snap, and no recoil spring to replace on a schedule. The GP100 specifically was engineered with one design philosophy above all others: to be shot extensively with full-power magnum loads without accelerated wear. Ruger achieved that by making the GP100 measurably heavier than competitors. At 40 ounces unloaded, it absorbs .357 Magnum punishment that destroys lighter revolvers within 5,000 rounds. But here's the operational detail most people skip. The .357 Magnum cylinder accepts .38 Special without modification. 2 calibers, 1 platform. In a world where ammunition scarcity is the primary tactical problem, that flexibility is worth more than an extra 4 rounds of capacity. But the next pistol was seriously evaluated by NATO, and the reason it made that shortlist changes how you think about suppressor-ready features entirely. Number 5. The FN 509 Tactical. FN Herstal has manufactured firearms for the U.S. military since 1989. The M16, the M249, the M240. When FN builds a pistol for civilian sale, it is built on institutional knowledge that most manufacturers simply do not have access to. The 509 Tactical was developed directly from FN's submission to the U.S. Army's Modular Handgun System trials, the same trials the P320 won. But losing that contract did not end the 509's relevance. It clarified it. FN took the lessons from that evaluation and built a pistol with a factory-threaded barrel, an optics-ready slide that accepts over 10 red dot footprints natively, and suppressor height sights that work above a mounted can without replacing anything. Most buyers purchase the 509 Tactical and never thread a suppressor onto it. But the platform was engineered assuming you would. In a conflict where noise discipline becomes a survival variable, that assumption matters. The next pistol changed what the firearms community expected from a striker-fired trigger, and it did it with German precision. Number 4. The HK VP9. Heckler Koch has a marketing line that is simultaneously arrogant and accurate. No compromise. The VP9 was their first striker-fired pistol, released in 2014, and HK spent decades resisting the format before they built one. That delay was deliberate. HK's engineers refused to release a striker-fired pistol until they believed they had solved the trigger problem that plagued every competitor. The result was a trigger that breaks at approximately 5.4 pounds, with a reset so short and tactile that it changed the baseline expectation for what a factory striker trigger could feel like. But the detail most buyers don't know is the grip panel system. The VP9 ships with 3 interchangeable back straps and 3 sets of side panels, 27 possible grip configurations from the factory box. HK also built this pistol to the same torture test standards applied to the HK-45, a platform adopted by U.S. Special Operations Command. That lineage does not transfer automatically. But it doesn't hurt. The next pistol is the most misunderstood firearm in American culture, and its real value has nothing to do with the movies it appeared in. Number 3. The Desert Eagle in 50 AE. Before you dismiss this as a range toy, that reaction is exactly what this entry is here to correct. The Desert Eagle was designed in 1979 by Magnum Research in Minneapolis and manufactured in Israel by Israel Military Industries, the same company that built the Uzi and the Galil. It is not a range toy. It is a gas-operated rotating bolt pistol, a mechanical system borrowed from rifle design, not handgun design, which is the only reason it can reliably cycle a cartridge generating 1,500 foot-pounds of muzzle energy. For context, a standard 9mm generates approximately 350 foot-pounds. But the collector argument for the Desert Eagle has nothing to do with terminal ballistics. Production of the 50 AE Desert Eagle has been intermittently suspended multiple times since 1995. Each suspension drives secondary market prices upward by 15 to 30% within 18 months. Collectors who understood that cycle in 2010 bought at $1,200. Those same pistols trade at $2,000 to $2,400 today. But the number 2 pistol on this list made a single specification decision that separated it from every other concealed carry platform on the market. Number 2. The Springfield Armory Hellcat Pro, When Springfield released the original Hellcat in 2019, it set a world record. It was the highest capacity micro-compact 9mm pistol ever produced. It carried 11 rounds in a grip smaller than most competing platforms chambered in the same caliber. The Pro extended that logic. Longer grip, 15-round magazine. A 3.7-inch barrel that recovers the velocity the micro-compact barrel sacrifices. But the specification that separates the Hellcat Pro from every competitor in its class is the flush-fit magazine capacity combined with its overall dimensions. At 7.2 inches overall length and 4.8 inches tall, it carries 15 rounds in a package that disappears under a t-shirt. The Sig P320, its closest competitor, ships with a 10-round flush magazine. The Hellcat Pro ships with 15. In a prolonged conflict where resupply is uncertain, those 5 additional rounds per magazine are not a marketing number. They are a tactical reality. But everything on this list, every caliber decision, every capacity argument, every modularity advantage, points back to the same answer at number 1. Number 1. The Glock 17. You already knew. And that's the entire point. When the answer is obvious to every military procurement officer, every law enforcement agency director, and every serious operator on the planet simultaneously, the obviousness is not a weakness in the argument. It is the argument. The Glock 17 is the most widely adopted service pistol in human history. Over 50 militaries, departments in all 50 states, and continuous production since 1982 without a single fundamental design change because none was required. Gen 4 introduced the dual recoil spring assembly that extended barrel and frame life beyond 100,000 rounds before replacement. Gen 5 added the marksman barrel, removed the finger grooves, and introduced the flared magwell that competition shooters had been retrofitting onto Gen 3 frames for 20 years. But the number that matters most is this. There are currently more Glock 17 magazines in circulation in the United States than for any other pistol platform in existence. In a conflict where logistics determine outcomes, that number is not trivia. It is the single most important tactical variable on this entire list. The experts already own one. Now you know why. Drop the number of pistols from this list you currently own in the comments. I read every single one.